Hi, I am Alvin P. Scomo, a BS Ed2 major in English at Negros Oriental State University, Shaton campus. Today, I will be discussing the last four stages of psychosocial development on Erikson's theory. But before anything else, I was just gonna give you a quick recap on the first four stages that has been discussed to us by teacher Saki. The first stage is trust versus mistrust. It is when a child develops a sense of trust to their caregiver, and if given cruelly or their needs are not met appropriately, then they will grow with a sense of mistrust for the people in the world. The second stage is autonomy versus shame or doubt. It is in the stage that the children begins to explore the world. Just for example, a 2-year-old child chooses her outfit or her clothes. Although it is not appropriate for the situation. And in this chance, if the girl's opportunity is denied, she may develop or she may doubt her abilities, which will lead to low self-esteem and a feeling of shame. The third stage is initiative versus guilt. It is when children are already capable of initiating their activities and asserting control over the world through social interaction and play. Initiative when their parents are already supporting their children of what their choice, and guilt if the children failed to experience this kind of activities due to over-controlling parents. And the last stage is the industry versus inferiority, which is at the age of 6 to 12. And I know we also experience at that kind of age in our life, and we can't deny that at that certain stage in our life, competition does exist and is very common. It is in the stage that we really need to socialize with other people. It is because if we'll not socialize, or the children will not socialize, then they will not, or they will develop a sense of inferiority. They will feel down of themselves in their abilities. They will lose their interest, which is very essential to overcome at that stage of our lives. As of this moment, we will now discuss the last four stages of psychosocial development on Erikson's theory, starting up with the stage 5. It is the identity versus role confusion. So, what are identity and role confusion? One of the main elements of Erikson's psychosocial stage theory is the development of ego identity. It is the conscious sense of self that we develop through social interaction, which is constantly changing due to new experiences and information we acquire in our daily interactions with each other. So it is very important that at a very young age we socialize with one another. It is because from that interaction of other people, we will be able to grow and as well to develop our personality. This stage occurs during adolescence between the ages of approximately 12 and 18. During this stage, adolescents explore their independence and develop a sense of self. The fifth stage of psychosocial development consists of psychosocial conflict, which is the identity versus confusion. And the major question in here is, who am I? The basic virtue is fidelity, and the important events in this stage is, of course, social relationship. On the other hand, here are the benefits of identity. So there are numerous benefits behind shaping and forming an identity. Number one is commitment, of course. We have to be very committed to ourselves in order for us to grow. And self-confidence, that is something we really need to build in ourselves at that stage in our life. And a sense of independence. I know a lot that we really tend to be independent on ourselves. However, we have to set boundaries that we are still young and we really need to depend on our parents. And fidelity, or the feeling of being loyal or faithful to other people. So here as well are the consequences of role confusion. Role confusion can have lasting consequences on a person's life, including difficulties with commitment, worse mental health and well-being, weak of sense of self, and lacks of self-confidence. These are the things that are the consequences of role confusion. That is why we really have to identify ourselves. We really have to know our strengths and weaknesses in order for us to grow and to develop our personality. So to highlight the stage 5 identity versus role confusion, it is very important, of course, to establish our identity at that stage. And that is through social interaction. We really have to socialize with other people at that certain age. It is because from that we won't be able to be confused of our roles, and we will be able to grow and to develop our personality as well. The next stage is intimacy versus isolation. This stage takes place during young adulthood between the ages of approximately 19 and 40. And I know a lot that we fall into this stage, which is intimacy versus isolation. So the major conflict at this stage of life centers on forming intimate, loving relationships with other people. So it states that in this stage, we are already starting to form our relationship, or our lasting relationship with other people. Success at this stage leads to fulfilling relationship. Struggling at this stage, on the other hand, can result in the feelings of loneliness and isolation. The psychosocial conflict in this stage is intimacy versus isolation. And the major question in this stage is so very touching. It states that, will I be loved or will I be alone? It's so sad. And the basic virtue in here is love. And the important events is romantic relationships. So, what is intimacy? Erikson believed that it was vital to develop close, committed relationship with other people, of course. Romantic and sexual relationships can be an important part of this stage of life. But intimacy is more than having close and loving relationship. So, what causes intimacy or isolation? Intimacy requires being able to share parts of yourself with others, as well as the ability to listen and support other people. Isolation can happen for a number of reasons. Factors that may increase your risk of becoming lonely or isolated include childhood experiences, including neglect or abuse. That's one. Divorce or death of partner. Fear of commitment, which, to be honest, I fall in this factor. Fear of intimacy. Inability to listen, to open up, past relationship, and troubles with disclosure. So these 7 factors why we isolate ourselves, or we for ourselves from loving someone or having romantic relationship. So, the benefits of intimacy. People who are successful in resolving the conflict of the intimacy versus isolation stage have close romantic relationships, deep, meaningful connections, enduring connections with other people, positive relationships with other other people, and strong relationships between family and friends. And here as well are the consequences of isolation. So, struggling in this stage of life can result in loneliness and isolation. Adults who struggle with this stage experience few or no friendships, lack of intimacy, lack of relationships, poor romantic relationships, and weak social support. So in this stage, intimacy versus isolation, I learned that it is very important for us to find our romantic relationships. It is because if not, then we will be alone. We will feel sad of ourselves. However, for me, I also still believe that it's just a matter of choice. And all we need to do is to just respect those who are not in a romantic relationship, because it's their choice, and of course it's their happiness as well. All we need to do is to support them for their choice in life. The next stage of Erikson's psychosocial development is Stage 7, Generativity versus Stagnation. This stage takes place during middle adulthood between the ages of approximately 40 and 65. The eighth and the last stage is Integrity versus Despair, which we will be going to discuss in a few hours. And during this time, adults already strive to create or nurture things that will outlast to them, often by parenting children or contributing to positive changes that benefit other people. And here are the psychosocial conflicts in this stage: generativity versus stagnation. And the major question we have here is, how can I contribute to the world? Of course, since they are already, or they are in the age already, so the question we really have to gather in here is, how can I contribute to the world? And the basic virtue is care. The important events in this stage is parenthood and work. But before anything else, what are generativity and stagnation? Generativity refers to making your mark or leaving a mark on the world by caring for others, as well as creating and accomplishing things that make the world a better place. Key characteristics of generativity include making commitments to other people, developing relationships with the family, and of course, mentoring others. And the last one is contributing to the next generation. Stagnation as well refers to the failure to find a way to contribute. These individuals may feel disconnected or uninvolved with their community, with society as a whole. Some characteristics of stagnation include being self-centered, failing to get involved with others, not taking an interest in productivity, no efforts to improve the self, and placing one's concerns over above all else. So that's stagnation. To generalize the stage 7 generativity versus stagnation, in this stage, it is very important to be productive in life. It is because being productive means you are making a difference to yourselves and to your family. And if you're productive, then it can also increase your social life, mental health, and it will lower your risk in life. And we are down to the last stage of Erikson's psychosocial development, which is integrity versus despair. So, Erikson's theory suggests that we people pass through 8 distinctive development stages as we grow and change through life. So, while many developmental theorists tend to focus purely on childhood events, Erikson was one of the few theorists to look at the development across the entire course of lifespan, meaning Erikson is the only one who focuses on the entire lifespan of human, because some theorists also just focuses on the child's development. He was also the one of the first to view the aging process itself as part of human development. So the last stage, which is integrity versus despair, is very important because it highlights the last part of human development. So the psychosocial conflict in here is, of course, integrity versus despair. The major questions, which is so very sad and inspiring. Did I live a meaningful life? So very inspiring, and so motivates us to really strive in our life and to make a difference. And the basic virtue in here is wisdom. Important events reflecting back on life. So, what are integrity and despair? So, integrity refers to a person's ability to look back on their life with a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. And characteristics of integrity include acceptance, a sense of wholeness, lack of regret, feeling at peace, a sense of success, and the feelings of wisdom and acceptance. While on the other hand, despair refers to looking back on life with feelings of regret, shame, or disappointment. And the characteristics of despair include bitterness, regret, ruminating over mistakes, feeling that life was wasted, feeling unproductive, depression, and hopelessness. So in this stage, the last stage, which is integrity versus despair, it is very important to just enjoy life. We have to think positive always, because this is the last stage of our life and we can't help, or we can't predict time of when is our last time. So we really have to enjoy life, do things that will make us happy, because from that we will be away from any sickness, and we should really have to feel satisfied with what we want in order for us to, of course, to live happily and live longer. In conclusion, Erikson's theory is a very powerful tool for self-awareness, improvement, and for teaching and helping others. It emphasizes the sequential significance of the 8 character forming crisis stages. The concept also asserts that humans continue to change and develop throughout their lives, and that personality is not exclusively formed during early childhood years. It is certainly a view that greatly assists encouraging oneself and others to see the future as an opportunity for positive change and development instead of looking back with blame and regret. The better that people came through each crisis, the better they will tend to deal with what lies ahead. Everyone can change and grow, no matter what has gone before, and as ever, understanding why we are like we are. Gaining meaningful self-awareness is always useful and important step forward. And that's a wrap for my report. I hope you have learned something from my discussion. Thank you so much for listening and for watching. This has been Alvin P. Escomo saying thank you so much and keep safe, and may God bless us all.